The forthcoming governorship election in Rivers State promises to be a keenly contested one, what with strong political characters asserting their relevance in the scheme of things. But the major question remains, who among the aspiring persons can produce the needed quality and strength to effectively tackle the myriad socio-political and economic challenges of potentially speaking one of the most viable states in the Federation. And critically so, there's a disturbing matter of worsening ecological degradation arising from the actions of oil industry saboteurs in the state. The infamous black suit, which has been coming down on Port Harcourt, the state capital, for some time, easily comes to mind. And finally, who can explain what Rivers State has been doing with a very substantial fiscal allocation, even as youth unemployment and underemployment continue to create all kinds of social issues in the state. Well, joining us now to have a conversation around all of that is Senator Magnus Abbey, a former federal lawmaker who represented Rivers Southeast Senatorial District in the Senate and one-time secretary to the Rivers State government. The senator is currently planning to run to become Rivers State governor. Good morning, distinguished Senator Abbey. Good to have you on the show this morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, and thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
All right. Always good to have you. Tell us, Senator, we know that you have signified your intention to run for the office of the governor of Rivers State again. Of course, we believe that will be under your party, the All Progressives Congress. And we know that when you made that declaration, when the Asiwaju Tinubu support group thing was being launched in your hometown, one of the things that you said was that political rascality needs to end. Tell us about that and how, what you think of your chances this time around, given the fact that we are hearing a few names, for example, the name of Atoye Cole again, as one of the likely candidates that the powers that be in the party in your state might use. What are your chances, and what sort of political rascality were you referring to when you made that statement?
Well, first of all, what I think that people need to realize is that for anybody to emerge as the governor of Rivers State at this time, the candidate must have the ability to be able to cross all borders, ethnic and political, to bring people together in the quantity and quality that is required to be able to clinch the seat of the governorship of Rivers State. And without being unduly boastful, I think that among all those that have signified their intention to vie for the office of the governor, particularly from my party, the All Progressives Congress, I stand the best chance of actually delivering victory for the party. And the records would bear that out. I have the experience, I have the knowledge of the state, I have the what I'll call institutional memory of the challenges and prospects that Rivers State can actually bring out. And then, more importantly, I have the knowledge and the connection with the different groups of people across the state. And I have relationships that cut across political, ethnic, and religious boundaries. I have already purchased my form to run for the primary in my party, the All Progressives Congress. And it will interest you to know that Rivers people from all across contributed money to support me to be able to get that form. Rivers people from every divide, every ethnic group, every political affiliation, every religious affiliation that you can think of, Muslims, Christians, people across the state put in 20,000, some put in 1 million, some people brought money to be able to help me to cross that barrier. So I think that with that kind of background, the party members across the state realize that I'm one of their surest bets to be able to cross that bridge when we actually get there. That said, I think that at this point in time, what the party needs is to be able to create an atmosphere in which all participants can safely and credibly and fairly compete for the ticket of the party. I'm not against anybody anointing any candidate or supporting any candidate of their choice. But where that is done by corrupting the institutions that would manage the process in such a way that it can only produce that desired result, then of course other people who are participating are going to feel shortchanged in that process. And if that happens, it will make it difficult for us to be able to come together to pull whoever is our candidate across the finish line. So I think that any kind of behavior that continues to promote that kind of response and division within the party is rascality. And anybody, all of us should, as much as possible, avoid any kind of behavior that would deny us of this opportunity to actually have an APC governor in Rivers State that would be able to attend to the needs of all Rivers people. Secondly, let me also say that as far as I know, what Rivers people are interested in at this point in time is not in so much politics as in effective governance. They want a governor that would devote his time to attending to their own needs and their own challenges. They want a governor that understands the problems that they face. You see, like I was talking to our children the other day in the Rivers State University, that when you're hungry in the school there, nobody knows whether you're from Kalabari or you're from Ogoni. When you don't have a job, nobody knows whether you're from Ekpe or you're from Andoni. Our problems are the same. When people try to promote sentiments over reality, they are trying to use those sentiments to blind you to the reality of your situation. The reality of our situation today in Rivers State is that we need to work together. We need to come together across political, ethnic cleavages to be able to harness the vast and enormous economic potentials that Rivers State has. And we need leaders that can bring that message of unity, that message of inclusion. We need leaders that are humble enough to understand that being a governor is just a job. You're hired by the people to do something for them, and you should focus on getting that thing done. And I think that I have a track record that will enable Rivers people to believe that when I say that that is what I'm going to do, that is what I'm actually going to do. And that's why my candidacy is vibrating across the state, not only within the APC, but within the larger society, within all ethnic blocks, and within all groups in the state. So I think that this is the kind of message that Rivers people want to hear. They want a governor that will concentrate on the issues of Rivers State. They want a governor who understands that they are the reason this country was created. They are the reason why Rivers State exists. They are the reason why the office of the governor was established in the first place. And they want a governor that understands that it is all about them. And I think that my track record in politics and my interaction with the people of Rivers State give them that confidence that I am the man who can get that job done. And I think that a lot of the members of the All Progressives Congress, despite our differences, realize that I have the best chance to actually deliver the governorship to the people of Rivers State and the party.
Thank you very much, Senator. I mean, in the lead up to your declaration and in the time since then, you have also spoken quite openly about the fact that you believe in the interest of fairness, that your ethnic background, being that you are Ogoni, means that it should effectively, for lack of a better term, be your turn to take the mantle of Rivers State. And you've also just said in your answer to Steve's question there that you understand that there are definitely certain challenges that before Rivers State, but you didn't go into much detail. And I'm sure, given the opportunity, you would talk about the environmental degradation happening in Rivers State, the fact that illegal refineries and illegal oil theft itself has had a huge negative impact on the state. What ideas do you have to challenge and to stem the flow of that rascality I know you've used that term in a political sense, but if we're looking at the issues on ground currently in Rivers State, there's a huge problem that the oil sector is contributing to Nigeria as a whole, not being able to rustle up the level of finance that they had been able to do in previous years. So specifically, if you are talking about your ambitions of taking the mantle of that state, what are you going to do about the oil theft happening there?
Well, first of all, let me start with the ethnic question. I actually hate to play the ethnic card because I believe that a lot of times when politicians do that, they actually take away from what should be the substance of the conversation, which is what our citizens, what the voter is actually supposed to get from the political experience. But if you look at Rivers State was created in 1967. And since 1967, when the state was created, no Ogoni son or daughter has ever been a governor, has ever been a deputy governor, has ever been a speaker, has ever been a chief judge in Rivers State. That can't be a coincidence. Now, if you go beyond that, there are 3 senatorial districts in Rivers State. You have Rivers West Senatorial District, you have Rivers East Senatorial District, and then you have Rivers Southeast Senatorial District. Now, in the Rivers Southeast Senatorial District, the Ogonis are, of course, the majority in that senatorial district, which is where I come from. Now, when Odili was governor, it was understood that he was from Rivers West. And so when Amechi, who was also from the upland, was to be the governor, he was from Rivers East, where the Ikwere people are actually the majority. And in our party, the All Progressives Congress, the last time we met as one united body, we zoned the governorship to Rivers Southeast Senatorial District, which everybody knows that if you follow the rules of fairness, justice, and equity, that should be the senatorial district that should produce the next governor of the state. Now, when it comes to that senatorial district, the Ogonis are the majority. So if you have always followed senatorial district, and when it comes to the point where if you follow the senatorial district, it would benefit the Ogoni people, you now turn around to say, no, we are no longer doing senatorial district, we are now going to do upland and riverine. When you begin to do that, the people are going to feel cheated because they know that if you have followed the formula you had always followed, it will benefit them. So you change the rules in the middle of the game because you don't want a particular person. That is not good politics. Or you don't want, it won't be interpreted as a particular person. It will be interpreted as a particular tribe. Because I'm not the only Ogoni person who is qualified. I'm not the only Ogoni person who can be governor. So even if you don't want me and you have said, okay, it is the turn of the Rivers Southeast, it gives you the opportunity to look beyond me and pick another Ogoni son who can also contribute to the development of the state. But where you now suddenly change the rules to say, okay, it is upland riverine, and therefore the Ogonis who have never been anything in the state are automatically now disqualified because they are not riverine. That is not justice. There was a chief who once told me that injustice is not only when equals are treated unequally, but when unequals are treated equally. So if we all equally own Rivers State, it is injustice to treat the Ogonis unequally because they are also a major segment of the state. But my happiness is that these things are being done by individuals and by leaders. It is not being done by any group collectively. Collectively, Rivers people know that it is in their interest to pick the best person for the job, regardless of where it comes from. And they also understand that if one of the best people is from a place that if you give it to them, it gives a sense of justice, fairness, and stability to the entire state, it will be good for the state to pick from such a place so that everybody feels a sense of inclusion. So if you want to make the ethnic and the tribal argument and the sentimental argument, I would have a very good case. But that is not why I am asking Rivers people to support me. I'm asking Rivers people to give me this opportunity to serve them because I actually have something to offer that will make their own life better. Now, coming to the challenges of the environment in the state, I have come to find out that if you look at even the progress of the developed democracies, when they started out, pollution was a major problem for them. You know, they were using coal fire, they were using all these things. Even after they found out that the whole pollution and environmental challenges were a big impediment to their quality of life, they couldn't just drop those things because they were tied to the economy. But you find out that as economies improve, as people's own standards and livelihoods improve, the people themselves become even more concerned about the environment than the government. So part of what is driving these challenges in our environment is the fact that other opportunities from where people can make a livable income are not being explored in the society, and the opportunity does not exist to exploit those other opportunities that are abundant in the state. For example, a lot of people don't understand that if our rivers are actually clean, we can make more money from tourism, we can make more money from fishing and developing our wildlife, our fisheries and all that in the water than we can make from burning diesel and all that and pouring it into the water, which is helping to kill the fishes. It is affecting our health, and it is now even affecting the air that we breathe. So when you open up these other economic opportunities that abound in the place, and people begin to see that if they are doing this, they can make money from that will be able to sustain them and their families from what they're doing, the number of people that will even be available to degrade the environment will reduce. And secondly, it is important that as a society, when we now offer people alternatives to what we say they shouldn't do, we should have the guts and the determination to be able to punish people who violate the rules that we as a society have set out. If we agree that we should not do something, and then when A does it, because A is from my place, because A is my supporter, because A is related to my friend, I rub him powder. And then when B does the same thing, I go and say, oh, B is a criminal, I will punish B and all that. Both A and B know that you're not sincere. And so without that respect that the law should have, it is difficult to enforce the law. That's part of the problem that we face when it comes to time for us to be able to enforce our laws in the state. So I believe that if we provide an effective background for law enforcement to be able to do their work without political interference, we will be able to achieve results over and beyond what we currently achieve. You will remember that I have served as Secretary of the Security Council in Rivers State. And it was during that time that we brought in the Israelis who were able to train our staff and provided for them. We funded them in such a way that even when you offered bribes to them, they didn't take because there was no need for them to take. The Office of the Secretary to Government was at that time directly paying each policeman that was serving with us in Rivers State, directly paying to them to their own account. We didn't pay through any third party. We provided somewhere for them to sleep. We knew where they were sleeping. We knew how they were well provided for. Their vehicles were provided, and so they had no need to go and be extorting money from the public. Instead, they actually had a commitment to do the work for which they were hired, and we rewarded them as they succeeded, you know. So I believe that if we implement policies like that across the board, and we ourselves as the leaders respect the rules that we make, I believe that the challenges of environmental degradation would reduce as the economic opportunities on other flanks are improved across the state.
All right, thank you, Senator. But you know, a lot of people will say that Rivers State is traditionally a PDP state. But interestingly, this year, you have a former governor, Rotimi Amechi, who's a current minister, running to be president, and the sitting governor in PDP, Governor Nyesom Wike, also running to be president. And that will play a lot of role in who becomes the candidate in each of the leading parties, APC and PDP, in Rivers State, because people who are aspiring to be president will also be interested in who the governor of the state that they are, their own home state, is from. You are not in PDP anymore, and then people will say that you probably won't be the favorite candidate of the powers that be in APC within your state. So my first question to you is that how will you navigate, that reality that may be a major factor? And the second point will be, how do you think you're aligning with a particular presidential candidate will also be a factor in what becomes of your aspiration? It is a known fact that you are in Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu's camp. If it turns out that your preferred presidential candidate does not emerge as the party's choice, don't you think that may be that might work against even your own aspiration, even though the primaries for the governorship will come before that of the presidential? But we know that there will be a series of alignments and realignments even before the D-days for the primaries. How do you think that this will play out, and what are your thoughts, just to lump all this together, as to what the chairman of the party, former governor of Nasarawa State, Senator Adamu, said about the fact that the ticket for the presidency of the party has not been zoned anywhere? The understanding so far has been that it has been zoned to the south of Nigeria, which is the reason why 95% of those who have expressed interest are from the south, and that no decision has been taken on the mode of the primaries. Do you think that there is something going on, or is this about the fact that the NWC now has the power to determine what happens in the next 90 days?
First of all, thank you very much. I think that, let me start with the issue of myself and the Minister of Transportation. I think that as a smart politician who is looking for something bigger than the governor, I believe that the best attitude for the Minister of Transportation will be to allow a situation in Rivers State where the candidate that can help us get the most votes in support of whoever becomes the flag bearer of the APC would emerge. And I believe that if he becomes the presidential candidate of the party, it is important that he should be able to also bring votes from his state. And the best way to go about that is to allow a process that will enable the people in the state to pick somebody that will be able to contribute to that process. Now, as for me supporting Asiwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu, of course, I have given my reasons to this country why I support Asiwaju. And the reason is simple. Of all those that are contending, he's the only one that I see that has actually done the things that we all want done. There are a lot of people who are saying that they will do it, they can do it, but a lot of them have had the opportunity and they didn't leave that track record of performance, which Asiwaju has left. So for that reason, I support him. But I am not the party. The party will pick a candidate. And if the party picks a candidate by a process that is fair, transparent, just, and equitable to all of us within the party, I will support whoever emerges as the candidate of the All Progressives Congress. Because my belief and my conviction is that the APC should be able to produce the next president of this country. And I'm ready to contribute to that process. So I don't think that if the minister works hard enough and is able to pick the presidential ticket of the party in a manner that is inclusive of all of us, I don't think he has anything to worry about from me. He needs me just as much as he will need any other person who can contribute to that process. And he needs the party in Rivers State to be able to act as one. And it is his responsibility as a leader to work towards a process that will make it possible for the party to be able to achieve that. That is what leadership entails. It doesn't mean that you must get your way all the time. And people seem to forget that we both know each other very well. And I know that anybody who knows me knows that my interest as far as politics is concerned is in serving the people of Rivers State. I would actually like to have an opportunity to prove to our people that if we work together, we can achieve things that we have never achieved before. I believe that very strongly. I also want to say that a lot of the great names that we hear are not people who had 2 heads or 4 eyes. The Nelson Mandelas, the Deng Xiaopings, the Franklin Roosevelts, and all that. They were ordinary human beings like you and me. What they were able to do is that they were able to convince others to see what was not visible and be able to bring people together to achieve what people felt were not achievable. And I believe that I can do these things if we can convince Rivers people to see what we cannot see individually and work together to achieve what we cannot individually achieve. I don't see how that is a threat to anybody in the All Progressives Congress who needs the support of Rivers people. That said, let me also say that as far as democracy is concerned, everybody understands that in politics, you don't close all your options at the same time. So I think that what the national chairman has said and done is to let people understand that this party will do what it takes to win. And if that understanding is clear to all of us and we focus on how we can get the party to work together to win, I believe that a lot of the animosity and the challenges that we have in the party will be seen for what they are. They are political obstacles that we need to cross in order to achieve victory. On the part of the current governor, I want to say very, very clearly that people in this country know that I worked with Nyesom Wike when he was chief of staff. I was secretary to government. We have a long-standing personal relationship that go back a long way. When the current minister, who was then our boss, was in Ghana, myself, Wike, and Andrew, we were meeting Andrew Uchendu, we were meeting almost every night in my house where we planned and worked together, and God helped us to get victory. So I don't have a problem with the governor. As far as I know, they want to be president, and the issue of presidency is beyond Rivers State. It is not only Rivers State that will create the president. I want to be governor, and I don't see either of them contesting for governor. So I believe that if they create a space where we can all operate, they can have their own preferred candidates and also give me room to also be able to operate within the atmosphere of the state. I believe that if that is done, we can, there's enough space for all of us. Like I always say to people, if you understand how many stars there are in the sky, you will know that there is space for everybody to shine. You know, you have billions of stars in the sky, but there is always room for more stars. So I don't think that what I'm doing directly in any way contradicts, confronts, or is opposed to what either of my friends are doing in our respective parties. I believe that there is room for all of us in Rivers State. And what I'm looking for is just an opportunity to serve Rivers people. I'm not looking for an opportunity to run down Rotimi Amechi. I'm not looking for an opportunity to run down Nyesom Wike. I am looking for an opportunity to serve the people of Rivers State, to unite our state and bring development, peace, and prosperity to Rivers people. And I believe that I can do that job very well.
I'm sure many people would agree with you. And you've spoken at length about how your first and foremost responsibility is to the people of Rivers State. And I'd imagine that in order for you to get to the position of leading the people of Rivers State as governor, you'd also first and foremost need to overcome the hurdle of the politicians within your party. And you've spoken at length about the Minister for Transport and the current governor of Rivers State. But if we were to, again, kind of circle back round to the Minister of Transportation and the fact that he still has a level of clout or playing power within the APC, within Rivers, I'd imagine that there had been reports that he is throwing his weight and the weight of his loyalists within the APC behind Pastor Tonye Cole. And I know that you're not here to talk about another person, but I'd imagine that in your journey of trying to emerge as the candidate and then going on forward, hypothetically speaking, to become governor, the idea is that you'd have to obviously overcome a lot of hurdles within your party. So what plan do you have in place to make sure that you are the person that emerges and goes on to become the governor of Rivers State?
Well, I think party members are themselves very realistic. They understand that except we actually succeed in producing the governor in the state, their own chances of being personally able to improve their own lives and the lives of their families will be affected by another failure. And I think that they are realistic enough to know that as far as the politics of Rivers State is concerned, the politician within the APC that has the best opportunity to be able to help the party cross the finish line is myself. And I'm working hard to pass that message on to them. I'm not against the Minister of Transportation. And I know that he has supporters, he has loyalists, both within the party and outside. And they are also voters. And I'm also talking to them. Because in as much as they support the Minister of Transportation, they also understand that they cannot afford to have another 8 years of being left out in the cold, another 8 years of struggling for themselves and their families. So whatever animosity or differences that we have, we all need each other to be able to help this party to win. I believe that that is just pure common sense. And at the end of the day, common sense will prevail over a lot of sentiment. So I will continue to reach out to them. I will continue to appeal to them. I will also continue to appeal to everybody, including the Minister of Transportation, who is a voter and also somebody who has a support base in Rivers State. We need everybody to be able to make this happen. And my own belief is that at the end of the day, when we look at our own individual circumstances and then look at where we will be if we make the wrong decision or we make the wrong call at this time, I believe that the majority of the members of the All Progressives Congress will agree with me that it is time for us to set aside our differences. It is time for us to pull the party together, and it is time for us to win. And the opportunity for us to win is there. And let me also say that
Senator Abbey, sorry if I have to cut in there. I mean, you have explained in detail, but then, you know, we're running out of time. But before we let you go, just one more question from us here, and that is to ask for your view, given the fact that you are from the South-South, same as former President Goodluck Jonathan, who's been rumored to be considering not only joining your party, the APC, but also considering overtures about running for presidency. So first is, what are your thoughts? Do you think that he should join your party and run? And then secondly, as a lawyer of long standing, do you think that that will be lawful, given the two sides of the argument lately about the propriety, you know, as far as the amended Constitution, 1999 Constitution, and the Electoral Act, you know, are concerned? If Jonathan does join your party, do you think that the law would permit him to run for yet another term as the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria?
Yes, I believe that he is legally qualified to run. The amendment was made after he had been sworn in and after he had served. So I don't think that legally that amendment will bind him. It will bind those coming from the date of that amendment. And I think, yes, he's welcome to the All Progressives Congress. This party is for all Nigerians. And President Goodluck Jonathan will be an enormous asset to the party. But whether or not he will be able to clinch the presidential ticket of the party is a different question, given that he will be a late starter in the race for the delegates. But whether he becomes a presidential candidate or not, he still has enormous value that he can add to the party. And I don't think that it is right for anybody to come to a political party with just one agenda. There should be a multiplicity of agendas. So if he's not the presidential candidate, he can still have a very, very powerful and positive role to play in shaping the future of this country through the All Progressives Congress, because the party will continue to dominate the government of this country, and his contribution will be invaluable. I will be very, very excited to welcome President Goodluck Jonathan to our party. And lastly, on the issue of PDP or APC or Rivers State being a PDP state, I think that across this country, people have come to realize that it is not the political party that you belong to that makes you who you are. It is who you are that makes you who you are. And so when people are looking for somebody who can solve their problems, I don't think that they will reject the best solution simply because of the dress you're wearing. I think that when you go and see a doctor or you go and see a specialist, you try to get the best. You're not concerned about whether his coverall is white or he's wearing blue. You just want to be sure that he has the speciality and the experience that will be able to solve your problem. I think that Rivers people at this time will look beyond whatever political garb anybody comes for and look for the quality that will make the difference in their lives. And I believe that that's where we are. Thank you very much.
All right, then. Thank you so much, distinguished Senator Magnus Abbey, for the candid thoughts that you have shared with us this morning. We do appreciate it.